So now we get down to the business end. Down to the business end, we got the new AL 960B, which is, it's one hell of a machine. I actually love this thing. I asked Max Grant, because he has one of these. I actually rang Max and spoke to Max about it, and Max gave me a lot of good advice, and I much appreciate that, Max. You set me on the right track, that's for sure. I rang Max and asked what his opinion was, and their highs, their good points, their bad points, and I listened to Max a lot, and he was spot on. They are a bloody good lathe. It's rock solid. I really like it. I don't know. After having the old Mars Hercules for 20 odd years, and then I bought that little cheap Chinese one, Hair and Forbes, it buggered up. Yeah, this thing just eats them both. So, really, really lovely lathe. Yeah, I'm absolutely stoked to have it. Love that thing. So moving on down here. Down in the corner, and we've got the down the corner here we've got the PK Douglas 11-inch shaper. The story behind this was there was one for sale up in Queensland, which, you know, it's a day's drive, day and a half, probably 2 days drive to where there was one for sale, and I nearly pulled the trigger and bought it at the time. It had been, the one up there in Queensland that was for sale had been repainted and so on, and it looked like it had done quite a lot of work. And my brother rang me one morning and said, you better get on Faceache and have a look. He said there's some machines in a town, or in Bombala, and that's a town that's about 55 minutes away from here. I went through all the machines up there. There was a lathe, there was a big radial arm, massive geared head drill up there. A few other bits and pieces, and a fair bit had been sold, but in about the second last photo and all the stuff on Faceache, there was the shaper sitting in the corner. So I just said to myself, I've got to have that. That's got to come home to me. So I left a message with the lady, and the fellow who owned it sadly passed away, and his wife decided that it was time to let stuff go. So I left a message in Facebook Messenger, and 10 o'clock that night I got a reply from her. And I asked her what she wanted for it, and she said make an offer, which I did. And she said, when can you pick it up? And I said, well, I can be there first thing in the morning, or I can come right now. And she said, oh no, come in the morning. So I went up, and it took me 3 hours to get out of the shed. And man, oh man, she took some getting out, I can assure you. But got it here, got it home. It come with the original vise, the original handles. The only thing it didn't come with was the original 3-phase motor, which when the chap bought it, he stuck it in the back corner of his shed, and he never ever turned it on. And it come from a secondary college, I believe. That's what she said, come from a secondary college or a TAFE college or something. He took the motor off, and I think he used it on something else and just stuck the shaper in the corner, and that's where it stayed. So it was a 3-phase motor, which I wasn't interested in a 3-phase, because I haven't got 3-phase here. So I got it home, and I ordered a single-phase motor. It cost me $260, I think. And it was here within about 4 days. And put her on. I cleaned it, cleaned it all or whatever, and it was fairly grotty and grimy from just sitting in a workshop for years. Give it a bit of a scrub up, plug her in, away she went. And yeah, it's still to today, that'd have to be the favourite machine in the shop. Absolutely, yeah, I love this thing. Sit there and watch it all day. So that's how I become to have the shaper. And if I can give a bit of advice to somebody, if you get a chance to buy one, just buy it. You won't be disappointed. Not in my opinion anyway. The next machine in the shop here is the Cincinnati mill. So I'm not excited about having a shaper, I'll just say it. So it's a Cincinnati mill. It's a 2L. I did date, or thanks to another YouTuber, we traced back the serial number, and it dates back, I think it was to the late 30s, early 40s from memory. So it's got a lot of age on it, and it was only yesterday I finished replacing the bearings in the headstock, in the head. That's another story on its own. Anyway, it's working again now. When I got this machine, it was bloody dirty. It hadn't been used in a lot of years. I think you would have seen the video when I bring it home. Had it sitting in the shed here, just over on the edge of the shed there, workshop. Me and the kids spent days and days cleaning it, and I put a single phase motor in this as well. It had a big Ellis Chalmers 3-phase motor, which I've still got it over in the corner. I took it out and put a single phase motor in it, and it runs fine. It's no dramas. I've never bogged it yet. So I got it. When I got it, I flushed the gearbox out, flushed it all out with diesel. I'd fill it up, run it for a couple of minutes, empty it out, fill her up again, new diesel, flushed it and flushed it and flushed it. And it's spotless inside. Because when you take the support arm back front up, there's a plate that you can lift out and see right down inside the gearbox, and it's as clean as a bell in there. The gears look absolutely perfect. You can't see any noticeable wear on the teeth. You can't see any noticeable wear, so, which is a big bonus. And for a mill of this age, you expect to see some wear, which it has got some wear in the table, but it's not enough to bother what I do. The nice thing about it is it's got a full oil system that does the whole top of the table, or top of the saddle. Plus it's got another one down on the knee. But man, oh man, there's about 20 odd lines that come out of that pump. Because it's all manual gearbox in the knee, there's all copper lines going everywhere, and they just feed down onto the gears and onto the shafts. It's that whoever, the people who put these together and done all the work when they built them, they done an absolute marvellous job. The copper lines, the copper oil lines, there's a bank this wide of them, all side by side, and the bends are all 100% perfect. There's no just slip it over through there. It's all ran spot on. It's just a work of art. Because I had the table off, and there was the oil that was in there all turned to grease, and about this deep of just goo. So it took a lot of cleaning, but we got it, and it's just a beautiful old mill. Solid, rock solid. I love it. Well, it weighs 1.5 tons, and compare this to my little mill drill, which the mill drill I could never run me 80mm face mill on. It was just no rigidity in it. Run it on this, just eats it. loves it. So you can see the difference, you know, the quality and the weight. It's just, yeah, it's chalk and cheese. But the mill drill makes a perfect pedestal drill. So I had a Heron Forbes pedestal drill. I sold it when I got this because I didn't need two machines to be able to drill a hole. So I just use the mill drill as a pedestal drill now. So that works. It'll last me for a lot of years. When I built this workshop, I asked the wife whether I could have a mill, whether I could buy one. She said, yeah, no worries, you can have one. But I wasn't allowed to go and buy a brand new Bridgeport clone or anything, so I had to settle for this when I first built this shop. Which, after the bit of homework I'd done, the geared head ones, I'd heard rumours that the gears in the headstock weren't hardened, and they were fairly hard on gears. Yeah, the ones with a square dovetail column. Yeah, and they were sort of a bit turned against that, and you know, belt drives have been around since day dot and they work. And it doesn't worry me have to change the speed by the belt, it doesn't bother me at all. Some people don't like it, but it's not hard, so that's why I went to round column mill. But knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have went the round column mill. I would have went a square column mill, like with dovetails. I would have done that for sure. Because the amount of times I've set up a job and I've been ½ inch too short to get a drill in there. And once you undo the clamp on the head, you lose your position of everything. Then you got to screw around, you got to indicate everything back in. It's just a real pain in the ass. So it makes you learn to think more and set your jobs out quicker and better, and yeah, not quicker, put a bit more thought into how you're going to do your job, so your procedures. But apart from that, it's been a great little mill. I built the boring head on this one. It worked, so yeah, they're a capable machine, and for what you pay, you know, you get what you pay for. It has got a lot of downfalls, but it is a good little workhorse. It'll just keeps poking along. Yeah, and then thanks to Jim from Tangent Engineering for giving me the opportunity to do the review on the coil wheel. That'd have to be one of the best things I ever put on. And I don't like changing my machines from original, but there's no way I'd go back to that 3-spoke thing. There's no way known. So I just wish the Cincinnati had a quill on the head. That'd be even better. That'd be the ultimate machine then. But sadly it hasn't, and you just got to work with what you got. So that's this machine. It's not very old. Hadn't even got a DRO on it, which I'd love to put a DRO on this, the Cincinnati and the lathe, but maybe one day. The next machine is my 14-inch Power Mac power hacksaw. Story behind this is Dad bought this brand new back in the mid-70s. And they were building a real large sawmill in Victoria at the time. And Dad bought it when they were building that. And man, oh man, the old man said it should be worn out 4 times over, but it's still going. And it still cuts true. That's the amazing part. I've had it for probably 6-7 years now. The original coolant pump still works. Yeah, still works. It's still on the original. It's still on the original motor, and all the oil, you know, when you're oiling it, the oil runs out the bottom of the motor, but it still goes. It just doesn't give up. Yeah, that for what you got back then years ago, there's no, yeah, they were built to last, you know. And this was it's a Taiwanese machine, but it's lasted. It's done. The only thing that's not original is the wheels on it, because they just they just failed. And yeah, sorry, that original one's on the front, but not on the back. But it still cuts true. I use it all the time. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's always getting used. Sometimes a bit beyond its capacity, but it does it. And yeah, you pay. Well, the blades aren't cheap, but they're not expensive either. The way I look at it, I don't think I'd like to be cutting it by hand, so the blades are cheap. So that's it's a Power Mac. That's the brand of it, Power Mac it is. She's bloody old, but she's a ripper. Next machine that we've all seen, and we've all seen the internals of and everything. It's a little lathe that I got about 2 years ago now. Oh, a year and a half ago probably. We all know we had trouble in the headstock bearings went in it. It was about 3 months old or something. And then the carriage buggered up, or the apron buggered up, and it's actually got a bad casting, sand in the casting. So, but it's cleaned up, and I've got it running back as good as new again, even though it's dirty, but it does need a good clean. But it's handy having two lathes, because if you got a job in the big lathe and you want, you know, you want to leave that in the lathe and you've just got something small to do, you just jump on this one and go your hardest on this. And like for what it is, like this is the machine I built the boring head on as well. So I only had this lathe and the mill drill when I built that boring head. So they were capable machines. You can do good jobs on them. So, but I did give this lathe to the boys. This is the one the boys can use and learn on. And you know, it doesn't matter if they crash this, it's not as bad. So yeah, so the kids will get some years of use out of this hopefully, and they'll enjoy it. Now this corner here is a disgrace corner. This box, there's a tub under there and a tub there. It's all full of nuts and bolts, from bolts this big down to 1/4 inch bolts, all second-hand stuff. There was a fella he's having a massive big Charlie chuck out, and he had this huge, massive big box. It would have been probably 5 foot long and sort of 2 foot square, and it was just full of nuts and bolts. And he said take the lot, but I had no way of lifting it, and all I had was these trays. So I got as much as I could, and I got as much as I could. We couldn't lift them. We had to lift them out with the engine crane. They were too heavy. But I've got used and used supply of small stock now, and there's cat bolts in there, there's Komatsu bolts, all high grade stuff. So it was definitely worth getting, but every workshop's got to have a junk corner, and this is it. Now this grinder here, story behind this one was, when I first shifted out of home many years ago, the old man had 2 bench grinders, and he said just take this one and use it. Well, I had it ever since, and I was at a garage sale one day, and there was a beautiful big 8-inch bench grinder, had a brand new set of wheels on it, and like it was I forget the brand, but it wasn't your home hardware shop one. It was like a Brooks and Crompton, whatever brand it was. And I bought it. I think I bought it for 40 or 50 bucks. And I gave it to the old man. He said, what's that for? And I said, well, I got yours, and instead of giving you back yours, it's got bugger wheels and that on it, I can give you the new one, or the new second-hand one. So he was happy with that, and he bought this the same time as he bought the power hacksaw, I believe. So they got some age on, they've got some age on them, and I've never replaced the brushes or nothing in this one. It's still, yeah, still goes good to this day. Yeah, we got the Arbor press. I bought this, and thinking back on it now, I shouldn't have bought the bastard. I should have bought a hydraulic press instead. But I was thinking of room, these are small, but thinking about it, by the time you put it on a stand, it's not that much bigger. You can sit a hydraulic press in the same spot, can't you? But anyway, we've got an Arbor press. Now I did modify this one. I don't really pick it up in the camera there, but I machined off 3 or 4 teeth at the bottom here, which weren't really getting used anyway, because it goes all the way up. I think you lose 1/4 of an inch. But the idea of taking them off is when you're coming down onto a, I don't know, when you come down onto a job and the handle's not in the right spot, you can get in the right spot without having to, you know, put another spacer under it, or, you know, stuff around. You can just wind it back, go over a click or two, and put the handle in the position you want it to be in. So, and that wasn't my idea actually. I picked it up off YouTube, and I thought, you know, bugger it, do it. It was brand new, why not? But I reckon that's a great modification to take out the, because then it used to go all the way back up, like feed all the way back up in here. So what, I lose probably 10 mil. So that's the Arbor press. But I've got this advertised for sale. I'm going to bite the bullet and advertise this. It's on Gumtree at the moment. So yeah, advertise Gumtree, or yeah, it's on Gumtree. I think I put this one on. Going to advertise it and sell it. Well, it's advertised now. I'm going to sell it and buy a 20-ton hydraulic press. Yeah, this is another disgraceful section. Then there's all bits of steel and, yeah, material that's too long to throw away, and yeah, and it's too short to do something with. Yeah, it's sort of in between, but stuff you'll always use. Then the rest of it is just storage. There's a brand new 6-inch Makita grinder there. I just haven't put back on a stand because I hardly ever use it. Just odds and bods, you know, bits and pieces. And over here is a couple of sets of lifting chains, spare extension leads and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and the Ghost is in here too, makes loud noises. Anyway, that's that disgraceful area. This is a welder setup I've got. I've got a Unimig 172 MIG on the top. I've had that for probably 14 years, I suppose, and it's not a bad welder, to be honest. And for me 40th, Mum and Dad and my brothers bought me a Unimig inverter welder. So I've never ever put a stick through that welder. I went and bought a scratch tart TIG. When it was brand new, I bought that straight away, and I use that as my TIG. Which, after using a TIG, I'd love to upgrade to like a button start TIG, something, but yeah, just a bit more user friendly than scratch start. So, because I really prefer to use the TIG welder than MIG. And I've got a stick welder down in the back there too. It's about 100-year old and still works bloody good to this day. It's behind this. So anyway, that's the welder setup. And I do run gas on my MIG as well. I don't use gasless wire. I can't stand it. So I'd rather pay for the gas. Down here in this cupboard is, on the top we've got the tool and cutter grinder that was donated by Warren. It's this year's project. So thanks again for that, Warren. Much appreciated, mate. And in the bottom of this cupboard we've got all electrical tools. There's a 14-inch cut-off saw. There's a 14-inch cold saw, angle grinders, drills, sanders, circular saws. All my electrical stuff is just in there. I can't afford to throw it out because it's got a lot of information I've written on the door over the year that I need. So yeah, that's sort of where I keep all my grind. But I'm going to shift the grinders and hang them off the side of the bench somehow shortly, because it annoys me every time you want something. You know, there's four grinders in there. Three or four grinders. Three. Every time you want one, you got to shift whatever's in front of the cupboard, get in the cupboard, untangle it, and get it out of there, and then you got to put it back. So it's going to get changed, that idea. Yeah. So that's what's in there. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little short trip around my little shop here. Yeah, it's pretty, like my shop's, it's reasonably untidy. That's the problem when you got too much stuff in a little area. You sort of haven't got a spot for everything. So anyway, we get along with what we got. We enjoy it. So there we go. Hope you've enjoyed. If you can see a way I can improve the shop in any way, please, yeah, please let me know. It'd be greatly appreciated. And thanks very much for watching. See you guys.